Welcome to the Fairview Church podcast. At Fairview Church, we are dedicated to reaching our neighbors with the true freedom found in full surrender to Christ. To find out more about our church, including service times, location, and current sermon series, please visit us online at www.myfairview.org.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Fairview Church podcast. My name is John, and today I've got Tyler Campbell, Dr. Reverend Pastor Tyler Campbell. What do you go by? What is your favorite title or preferred title?
I think I'm just used to Pastor Tyler.
Okay, Pastor Tyler it is. And we are starting off this new season in our podcast via video. So this is new for us. So this is pretty awesome. Thank you to Devin and Lydia, Kim, Beck, and all the other folks that had their hand in getting this studio set up. So we're not only coming to you from YouTube, but also from Spotify, iTunes, all the Apples, like all the places you get a podcast at. But thank you for joining us. On today's episode, we're going to be meeting Pastor Tyler. And so that's the whole goal, is just to hear from you, share whatever you want, and we'll go there. So give us a little introduction to yourself, and then we'll...
Oh, man, are you going to ask questions?
I do have some rapid-fire questions if we can't carry a conversation. So.
We can't. I'm sure we can carry a conversation. It's just, where do you start? Where do you start?
So I would say let's start with just maybe some background, family, and then where you're coming from. So we know you're coming from North Carolina. Anything you really want, education, and then we can kind of go from there. All those superficial stuff first.
Yeah, right. So born and raised East Tennessee, Lenoir City, just west of Knoxville. And from there, met my wife, Jessica. That's a whole other story. I've got stories that can go along with all of these details.
We got 30 minutes to fill.
30 minutes? Well, we don't have enough time for all the stories then. So Jessica and I met. We got married. We've got 3 kids, Caden, Gavin, and Kylan. They're 15, 12, and 10 years old. From East Tennessee, where I served in a church, First Baptist Lenoir City. Was there for 5 years, and then we headed to Florida. I was the senior pastor at First Baptist Church, Perry, Florida, and then to Eastern North Carolina, Raleigh Road Baptist Church in Wilson, North Carolina. And as of this week, lead pastor at Fairview Church in Lebanon, Tennessee. So here, we've made it. We've made it at least with all of our possessions. We don't know where half of our possessions are other than inboxes, but they're here. They're in town. We do have at least eyes on something. But we have been, I say we because Jessica and I do ministry really together in a lot of capacities. But we've been in full-time ministry almost 20 years. I think I'm at the 19-year mark, or full-time wise.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And so moving here, getting settled in. So 19 years of ministry, almost 20 years. What is maybe one of the most exciting things that you've been able to see in that 20 years of ministry?
How do I narrow it down to one thing? That's a great question. I think I have such a passion for leadership development that I love to see guys who are, and I'll say gals as well, who are headed to vocational ministry in some capacity. Whether that be local church ministry, whether that be missionary work, whatever it may be, but just people who have said, I want to dedicate my life to vocational ministry, and then having a chance to journey with them and through with them, all the details that then includes for their lives.
That's awesome. So we got a little bit of a introduction to you a little bit. Let's start off a little bit more shallow, and then we'll get into some of the deep end, okay? So I do have some questions here. Like, what was your first job? What was the first job you ever did?
Yeah, so I grew up with a father telling me there's always something to do. My first job was that I didn't get paid at doing was working with my dad. My dad's an electrician, so I was at a lot of sites regarding wiring homes and doing a lot of things. I just wish I would have listened a whole lot more and learned a whole lot more than what I did. But I don't have some of those skills. I didn't get paid for that, but my first paid job was a referee for Little League sports.
Nice.
I did basketball, baseball, and soccer all through high school and college.
Nice, very cool. So I was an upward referee and I got yelled at by a lot of parents, so I never did that again.
Yeah.
And my first job.
So you're into ministry now, because
Yes,
that's so much different.
You get paid a little bit more. My first paid job, I was a janitor at a medical office, and I basically just cleaned up after each exam room.
All the medical stuff.
All the medical stuff. So.
You don't have to go into more detail of that. Some people may not be able to handle the conversation.
So that was my first job, was
Cool.
janitor. So I was very grateful for it. And then I worked at the Gap, which you should never work at the Gap, by the way.
You worked at the Gap.
I did.
Did you have to wear the clothes?
I did. In fact, again, I don't know if I should say this, but you know what? We're recording anyways. So when you get there and you start working there, you have to try on all of the clothes. So I had to try on even all the women's pairs of jeans to see how they fit, which did not fit well, by the way. But you have to try on like everything so you know how everything goes.
Now,
so.
I think we're totally learning more about you than we are
I
about
know.
me
We need
right
to move
now.
on.
But this
We
is
need to
great. You were wearing women clothing. Write that down. We were just talking about what episodes are needed to come up. We need to flesh this one out a little bit more.
Listen, it was the only time, and it was the one and only time I had to do it, and it was so I could have a job. So,
All right.
and it was very quick. All right. So, what word do you hate hearing?
Can I use a phrase?
Sure, or phrase.
It is what it is. There's the phrase that I cannot stand, and here's the reason why. There's such a complacency and a contentment when that phrase is used. Almost like here's a reality, and there's a thought process that there's nothing I can do about it. I'm not going to give any effort towards it, so I'm just going to throw this phrase out there, and nothing else matters. Well, it is what it is. Oh, it drives me crazy.
Okay, good. Yeah.
So, sorry, it's not a word, it's a phrase.
It's good. You know what's funny? I use that phrase all the time. So it is what it is. I'm just kidding. No, that's really good. I think that's really, really insightful. All right, ready? What's your favorite dessert?
I'm gonna play off of probably Jessica's favorite dessert,
Okay.
and I'll explain. But it's a stack cake.
I don't know what that is.
So it's several layers of some kind of a dough. I don't even know much about desserts, but I'll explain that in a moment. But it's got an apple filling in between each layer.
Okay.
She had that. Let's see. She was presented and welcomed by my family with that dessert. So she has desired that ever since we've been married and dating. I don't have a sweet tooth.
Okay.
So actually, my best response would be if I'm eating a steak, my dessert is a second steak.
Okay.
Like I don't want dessert. I want more meat. I want more vegetables. I want that.
Sure. So follow-up question, not on my list. What's the best steak you've ever had?
That's a great question. It's a hard one because I like
all of
most
them?
of them, unless they're just incorrectly cooked.
How do you take it?
Medium to medium rare.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So bloody.
I like a little blood.
Gotcha.
Yes. And that's actually one reason that I did marry Jessica. There's a couple reasons, but her family, instead of turkey, ham, those kind of things over the holidays, especially on Thanksgiving, it's steak.
Okay, nice.
Yes, great tradition. I think everyone should adopt that.
Very nice. Yeah, I love steak, but I do like medium to medium well type of guy. So
That's my
anyways.
hamburger.
Yeah. So all right. So hey, dessert, steak, it's great. Describe your style in one word or one sentence.
My style.
Your style, your way, your fashion.
I've made it to the point in life where I don't care about my fashion nearly as much as I
Perfect.
used to. I am a t-shirt, shorts, wear a hat, pair of tennis shoes. That's the norm for me.
Cool.
I don't know if I have a style.
That's a style. T-shirt,
I think that's it.
shorts.
My
Sneakers.
my hat's on or it's on backwards typically.
Yeah, that's how I am too. All right. One subject you would like to learn more about.
These are some great questions. You didn't prompt me with any of
I
these.
know.
I had nothing to prepare for.
I know. I'm sorry, but it makes it natural for
Yeah,
everybody.
it is. It's very natural. One topic that I would like to learn more about. You know what I'd like to get better at? So this would be a topic to learn. I would like to learn how to cook a more variety of meals.
Okay.
I enjoy dabbling with cooking, grilling, those kind of things. I think that'd be a topic of just
Cool.
interest.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
What is your go-to lazy dinner? So like not cooking, but like just lazy dinner you can get.
Like takeout?
Sure, yeah.
Or at the
Takeout,
house?
whatever. Just something that's lazy. You don't have to put a lot of effort into.
Well, my kids love pizza.
Oh, amen.
So that's a go-to. And we're so thankful of moving here to Lebanon. There's a Papa Murphy's.
Oh, yeah.
We love Papa Murphy's.
Hey, Devin, make sure we get Papa Murphy's to sponsor this podcast. But go ahead.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. I think my go-to is just tacos.
Okay.
Tacos.
I do. Yeah.
That's a to-go. That's something quick at the house. It's easy, but it's
Nice.
rewarding.
Have you been to Speedy Burrito yet?
No.
All right, Speedy Burrito is really good. They have some good tacos.
Okay. All right.
And obviously good burritos. It's in the name, but
Okay.
they're pretty solid. And then there's Adelita's right next door, which is ice cream, and it's pretty solid. So it's a really good.
Again, give me another taco more than the ice cream.
Well, it's a good date night, So
Okay, all
it's
right,
a good combo. All right, finish the phrase. The way to my heart is
Food.
food.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes. No doubt.
Awesome.
Man, I didn't even hesitate. I had the answer for that one quickly. Food.
Food. Yeah, I do. So if you were to ask Amber what mine is, I don't know if she would say food. Like,
Okay.
I don't know. I think video games might be one of them,
Yeah.
but food. I like food. Don't get me wrong. I
Yeah.
enjoy food, but it's not my go-to. I don't think.
Food is probably my go-to. But most conveniently, I would say a real close second, but it's not nearly as convenient as just sports.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
take me to a Tennessee ball game. Take me to this. Take me to that. Something that involves athletics and sports.
So if someone were to come visit you, your office has a lot of really cool memorabilia and sports stuff.
Yes.
What's your favorite item in your office?
I have a signed football by Peyton Manning, and unfortunately, the case that it was in was broken in the travel, and so I'm not so sure how well it's going to hold up for long term now.
Well,
So
it's a nice piece of memorabilia.
I'll remember it.
Yeah, you'll remember.
I'll remember it.
Sorry, it's probably a pain point. What movie do you enjoy quoting the most? There's only two more of these superficial ones. So what movie do you enjoy quoting the most?
Okay, so here is both good news and bad news when it comes to movies and entertainment. Apparently, I'm the prototypical, had a lot of concussions earlier in life, not diagnosed, and so I don't remember half the movies that I watch. So you're not going to hear me quoting a lot.
Okay.
But the good news of that is I can watch a movie and it almost feels like I'm watching it for the first time. So anytime Rudy gets put in at the end of the
Nice.
game, like a tear comes.
Yeah.
Every time, remember the Titans, and they walk through with that little dance the first time they do the dance pregame, I'm telling you, tears come.
I bet. Just
Tears
like
come.
when Rose and Jack are outside the Titanic and she's
Yeah, I'm not
hogging
sure.
the whole entire door by herself.
Right.
Not
sure that one come to mind.
Okay, well, that
Yeah.
one, that makes me cry every single time. So if you were to write a book, what would it be about?
Marriage.
Marriage? What about marriage in particular?
We have, Jessica and I, we've experienced both the highs and the lows, and I think being in vocational ministry is definitely contributed to that. But I would say how we have journeyed through the experiences.
Okay.
And so how we, in moving away from family, had to learn how to do life on our own. Raising kids at different ages, different seasons of life. I don't know, that just is an intriguing topic because you can be a self-proclaimed expert, if you will, but there's really no experts in those fields.
Sure.
It's not a science. It's a lot of trial and error. It's a lot of methodology that's being attempted, and you got to figure out all the dynamics of the different kids. I just find that fascinating.
That would be very fascinating. I can't wait for its release, whenever that is.
Well, don't hold your breath because
So-
I have no desire to write a book anytime soon.
Alrighty. Last one, and then we'll jump into some other stuff. What's your favorite way to work out?
Oh, that's an easy one. I'm going to a CrossFit gym.
CrossFit?
Yes.
Okay, what's your favorite thing to do at CrossFit? Is there like one particular, it's like the rope thing?
We've done the rope thing. I know what you're talking about. I love the Olympic lifts.
Okay.
Specifically, I'm getting very narrowed here, a hang power clean.
I don't know what that is.
You with me?
No, I don't.
Okay.
What is that?
Okay, so the hang position is a starting already in the
Okay.
air. You're not pulling from the ground.
Sure.
And then the power clean is simply from the hips to the shoulders.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome.
So love it.
Very cool.
Love it.
Very cool. All right, hey, let's jump into a little bit of church stuff, okay?
Okay.
I just want to hear from you. You know, you're here at Fairview. What are you most excited about in this new season of Fairview? I know you don't know really anything that's going on because it's your like second day here on the job when we're recording this. But what's some of the things that excite you about the future? I mean, especially for those folks who maybe weren't able to come out to the Q&A and kind of hear some of those questions. What are some of the things that you're just excited about with Fairview and kind of the season that we're entering into?
Yeah, I think probably the most exciting thing that's headed, at least my way initially, is meeting people and hearing the stories of the folks that are here at Fairview, because the stories are fascinating. How God has worked in their lives in the past or in the present, how they came to faith in Christ. I just want to hear those stories. I just find those to be fascinating. So while I meet people, I've kind of got a couple of go-to questions. I want to ask, how long have you been at Fairview? Because I'm just curious about that. And then if we have more time and the relationships develop, I want to then ask the question, well, how did you come to faith? What was your journey at home? What was your journey away from home? What was your journey in all the details?
Sure. So I have two questions for you. First off, how long have you been at Fairview?
Yeah, 2 days.
Okay. And second,
Yeah.
how did you come to know Jesus?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's a great question. And can I answer it real quick?
Sure.
Yeah, so 15 years old, I was in a Sunday school class there on a Sunday morning. I heard a testimony of two older students. Their testimony was they had really been faking it. I knew that was exactly what I had been doing. And it was at the age of 15 that I gave total surrender to everything to Jesus. My senior pastor on that very morning asked me if I would stand up in the Sunday morning service and give a testimony of what had just happened in the Sunday school hour.
Wow.
I was scared to death. I didn't want to do it, but I said yes. And I stood to give a testimony and say, I just got saved. This just happened.
Wow.
And there were multiple other folks who, upon hearing my testimony, came to faith that very morning. So it was a mini revival-like moment that Sunday morning.
Wow, that's amazing. And after that, how long was it until maybe you explored vocational ministry and that God was calling you to pastoral ministry?
Yeah, right at 4 years.
Okay. And what did you do in between then?
I was headed towards teaching and coaching.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was graduating high school, headed into college. I was 2 years at Tennessee, and my goal was teaching and coaching. My life's dream was collegiate coaching.
Okay, nice. What sport?
I was headed towards basketball.
Okay.
Basketball, football were my top two. Basketball was my primary.
Okay, very cool. Very, very cool. All right, so you've had this experience, you've given your life to Jesus, you're in college, you have this transformation, and you're thinking about going to did you go to seminary? What does that look like? What does that time frame look like there?
Yeah, so I was 19, really kind of questioning life's future. I had 3 pastors that I had met with individually, separately. They didn't know that I was meeting with the other 2 guys. And each one of them looked at me and said, we think you should pursue vocational ministry. The skills, the talents, the abilities, those kind of things, we just see that in you. I ran from that thought process about 4 to 5 months.
Okay.
Did not want to pursue vocational ministry, just to be candid. And so finally came around to saying that's probably my direction. I left Tennessee. They just didn't have a degree that was very helpful for me at the time. Went to Clear Creek Baptist Bible College in Southeast Kentucky.
Okay.
Got my undergrad there. Went to Southern Seminary up in Louisville. Got my master's there, and then Union University for my doctorate. And so that journey, that's my journey of education.
Awesome. Did you have a favorite professor at Southern? Or favorite topic?
Oh, I love my Christian ethics class.
Okay.
And I enjoyed all my systematic theology classes. I had a chance in seminary to go to England and Scotland for 3 weeks.
Oh, cool.
Where I was also taking, it was part of the church history courses, British history, British church history courses, and Dr. Puckett was one who was on the trip with us. As we would go to different places, they would lecture about those places in church history.
Cool. So
I think history kind of solidified itself a little bit more just by being able to see some of those places.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now, we know that you went from there, you got your Doctrine Ministry in expository preaching. What was that like, kind of going and focusing on this particular topic, and why to you is that so important? Like, to get a degree in something, you must really love it. So explain to us why and, all those details.
Yeah, so I thought, and I still do think this way, that my vocational ministry focus is the local church. Mm-hmm. And I always thought that I would be in some sort of teaching or preaching capacity. And so I thought, well, what is the one area that I need to learn as much as possible? Because I believe there's to be power, substance, sustainability within the Word of God. So expository preaching was it. And expository preaching specifically, the specific method of how to handle the text, how to journey through a congregation or with a congregation through a text, and just all the details surrounding that topic. So I thought that should prepare me the most for all things future full-time vocational ministry. Mm-hmm. So I loved it. I love specializing in that, so much so that I really, am I allowed to say that I want one more degree?
We all do.
But Jessica has said no. Is it?
Listen, I'm there with you, okay?
Yeah.
I always want another degree. But I feel that, so yeah. I love learning. So what was your specific project then for your DMin with expository preaching?
Yep, implementing a collaborative approach to sermon preparation. So I gathered about 10 other pastors in the community, and we got together every week and did sermon preparation together, and we preached the same sermon series in 10 different local churches. And we journeyed through that all the way through the sermon series, again on a weekly basis, and then we had an evaluation period afterwards. So okay. I got to do a lot of studying as to how the collaborative approach in sermon preparation and then in towards the delivery aspect played itself, rather than just a solo individual approach to all things.
Love it. Do you have a favorite scripture or book of the Bible that you just love going to, or is it just all fantastic?
Yeah, I like it all. I like it all.
Okay.
No, I don't have a go-to verse. I don't have anything that just always rings true. In some capacity.
Very cool. We're about to embark. I guess when this goes out, we would have had one episode or one sermon in the book of Philippians, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Why Philippians to start it off, your time here at Fairview?
Yeah, so Philippians is one of those New Testament epistles that Paul specifically writes that the church doesn't have a massive problem. So I was thinking, all right, I'm brand new. The people don't know me. They're going to have to learn me a little bit. I don't know the people. I'm going to have to learn them a little bit. So what is it that would just be good, solid, theological, biblical, Christian principles that's not too heavy at first,
sure,
but also not too light either? Mm-hmm. So I went with a New Testament epistle, specifically Philippians, because there's not a massive issue going on. So it's very much encouraging. It's very much just how do we continue equipping the church to be faithful?
Sure. I love the book of Philippians. I love the sense of unity that it provides for the church. And I think, you're right. When it's It's good, but it's not too heavy. You don't have to teach on some random things here and there that were specific to a church that have some crazy issues. But
Yeah, that's why I didn't go with 1 Corinthians.
okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. That, or I don't know, we could name some Old Testament books. Probably that would have been an interesting start. But
Right.
we could have done the Song of Solomon and just went for it.
That would have been one way to start.
Yeah.
And then
memorable.
you would have just set the standard quickly.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still got a week. Maybe I need to
It's
rethink
true.
this.
Maybe. Well, hey, we got 5 minutes left, and just wanted to kind of just offer, just from a staff perspective, how grateful we are to have you here at Fairview. We're excited about this season that we're about to embark on. Any last minute remarks you'd like to share with our church before we close it for today? Anything you want. You don't have to.
Well, I just would say that we're excited to be here. We're excited to be here. The transition of all things is over. Thank goodness. Granted, we still got some house details to go through, but the fact that there was an opportunity and both sides really seem to agree that this is the way to go. Mm-hmm. We have moved, we have landed, and ministry is beginning. There's a routine, there's a habit. There's just things that are beginning, and we're so thankful for that. So we're excited.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you for your time today. Again, if you are watching this on YouTube, go ahead and comment something nice underneath the video. But if you're on Spotify or iTunes or any of these other things, if you would, go ahead and leave us a review, because it really does help us out. Because as much as this podcast is for our church, we do believe that some of the topics and discussions that we'll have will benefit people from everywhere. And so we want people to do that. In the past 2 seasons of this podcast via audio, we've had several people outside of our church engage and learn from it. So we want to continue that trend. And that's it. Thanks for watching the first episode, Fairview Church Podcast, for this season. Awesome.
Thanks for joining us for the Fairview Church Podcast. To find out more about our church, please visit us online at www.myfairview.org.